Pure water, pure pride, pure Jamaican. Pure water is about pure hydration. Remember to drink pure water and satisfy all your pure water needs.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Open Gate Facebook and YouTube show. I will always emphasize, wear your mask, practice social distancing, sanitize your hands, keep hydrated with the pure pride Jamaican water, pure water, or pure water we drink. This show is a special tribute to a friend from youth days, Wayne Anthony Costa, a competitor, a youth who saw his way, Wayne's way. Duxie, Oopsie, Doc, Juicy Bravo, take your pick on one of his youthful nicknames. I went to a primary school that was opened, well, a new primary school for the first time, accepting students, Mona Primary in Mona Heights. That's where, as an 8-year-old, I met Richard, Wayne, and Elizabeth McCullough, Simon Croskill, etc. Life had it made as one day the McCulloughs decided to move from Buttercup Drive in Mona Heights to Sanders Crescent, just below the Ligony area in Kingston, a few meters from where myself, Simon Croskill, and a bit near where Brian Garrick and his little brother, Lance Whitaker, who now is at Sportmax, where we all reside, on the periphery of the Sanders area. The Saturday, the McCulloughs arrived in the area. The next day, Sunday, Wayne, Richard, Simon, and myself decided to walk around the area. We approached a yard at the corner where we saw some horses. One of them was a horse by the name of Bunny, and 3 others, not sure if Windsor was part of that group. We decided to pull some grass on the sidewalk to give to the horses. And we heard a shout. It wasn't a shout, it was mild. Who told you to feed my horses? And we ran. 2 days' time, we attempted that adventure once again, and we stopped by slowly passing. And a voice came from behind the hedges. Don't run, it's okay, you can come and play with the horses. It was Wayne Costa. We went and we touched 2 of the horses. Bonnie, its favorite horse, was very quiet and calm, and we played with her. Wayne asked us if we played marbles, and we said yes. We didn't really play marbles for, we joke around, not playing much. But anyway, we didn't have any marbles, and we told him, so he sold us some from a big crocus bag that he pulled from somewhere around his house corner. Wayne trounced us daily and was very, very precise with the manner in which he flicks the marbles. We couldn't match him. After a while, when we get on par with him, he changed to table tennis. Yet again, he was dominant. And he allowed us, well, appropriately, points, like the game of 21, he'll give us a 10-point lead or a 5-point lead, and he trounced us. When we got on par with him, again, in this sport, he changed. He taught us so many card games, and we had lots of fun. We had so many options that, he was so creative. We had a lot of fudge stick races. When the rain falls and the water runs on the road, we would have a winning post, and we had our fudge stick. Wayne was again dominant. Somehow his fudge stick was much faster than ours. I realized that he rubbed some butter, some oil on his. That's why his fudge stick was dominant. We had marble races. We had kite flying. We had so much fun, so much adventure. We had bicycle racing. Again, we were handicapped. And regardless of his size, he won 99% of the races until he started to handicap us, giving us jump. And yet, he won most of the time. His brother-in-law, now deceased, also named Wayne. But a lot of people now presently knows him as Ned. He was Wayne's biggest competitor. Everything to do with competition, Wayne got us involved with. And he was dominant for most of the time. And regardless, we caught up on him, he was still competitive, really, truly a great competitor. I was the one who gave everyone, well, almost everyone, their alias names. For example, Wayne, McCulloch, Ned, his brother Richard, Chad, Simon Croskill, Man, Brian Garrick, Rick, Winston Whitehorn, Stan, just to name a few. But Elizabeth, she got her nickname Pinny from Simon Croskill. Ned and I took to loving horses more and went along with Wayne, going around his horses. And one day Wayne took us to the stretch in the butchers near the property of King's House, behind the residence of the then Governor General Florizel Glasspool. That was one of the grounds they had match racing. That's where I met Charles Hussey, who he and I later became closer at Jamaica College. I also met Philip Fiani, a reserve youth who was very disciplined and different in a remarkable way. Marvin Peterson, now the photographer at Caymanas Park. Joe Irons, Abe Zadie, Richard Parrott da Costa, Wayne da Costa's cousin, just to name a few. The match races were a thrill, as all those names I just mentioned were very good riders. Wayne was nowhere having an athletic look, but was won almost all the races with his faithful and beautiful horse Bunny. Of course, there were handicaps there also when others were given a jump accordingly. Oh yes, Wayne hardly loses. I remember one period over at King's House grounds, Ned and I decided to mount two of the horses while Wayne and the group were taking a break. We walked them around. I made a mistake by laying flat on the horse that I mounted, and that horse took off. He went right across East King's House Road. Tires were screeching, and I went all the way up to King's House Avenue. Really scared and was lucky. Thanks, there is God who saved me. I will never forget that. As a matter of fact, I may be the only one who won't and will never forget all those adventurous time we had in the early 70s. Wayne on a horse that he acquired, Philip gave him that horse. I think he acquired it from Arthur Sharp, who was owned by, that horse was owned by Peter the Kenny, a horse by the name of Windsor. That horse was on a open land property in Sandhurst, besides the residence of the Stennets. The Stennets' children, Peter and Colleen, were part of our large group as kids. Windsor had a bad leg, and it was during that time that Philip came to us and told us that he has to go. He's going to go to Ireland to understudy the great trainer and horseman Vincent Brand. Windsor was on the property, and Ned and myself, along with Wayne, we fed that horse, we groomed that horse, we attended to his foot as Wayne instructed us. And of course, Windsor was very pivotal in Wayne Costa's horse racing career, of which I will elaborate later on. During that time, I listened to the radio that Wayne was listening to on the races. And I remember I asked him one day for a winner, and he gave me a horse by the name of Major Blue, ridden by Emilio Rodriguez, trained by Ren Gonzalez. He bettered a horse trained by Bill Williams by the name of Midsummer. That was the first time I made a wager, and I won. Major Blue became one of my favorite horses, and Emilio Rodriguez, my favorite jockey. The start of the whole making of what made me more inclined to be with horses. I always loved animals. And I watched Wayne, and Wayne was drawn to me because of that. And we started a close friendship. I remember the one day when we were all walking around the Crescent, because it's something that we do a lot, and we meet the neighbors. Yes, some of them find us annoying, some of them greeted us. That included Dr. Clifford Gray. Of course, we remember Dr. Gray, a top veterinarian in Jamaica, and we met his kids, and they too joined our group. But it was one day when we were walking around, I think Simon was the one who just opened a letterbox, and we saw 2 packs of cigarettes, brand new. I think it was Peter Blue and Peter Red. And we realized that maybe the other letterboxes had those cigarette samples there. So we went and we took quite a number of those cigarettes. We went at our base home where we gathered at 36 Sanders Crescent. That's where Elizabeth's mother and father and her brother resides. And that house became our headquarters. We went under a coconut tree and we opened one of the cigarette boxes. And some of us started to put one in our mouth and we lit it. We each lit our cigarettes. Wayne was the only one who didn't wanted to try that. But we started smoking and Wayne was against it. We all went on to smoke more and more and more. It's funny. When you have a situation and you're hesitant, but you try it, you might like it. So you have to be very, very careful what you try. Because if you like it, you're going to continue. We had so much joy and fun. And of course, in this tribute, I will keep on saying it because there was a multitude of times, more so that, it would take a week for me to project all. But we went on, and we were there. I was going now to Jamaica College, where Simon Crosskill, Charles Hussey, Michael Sir Joe is now a trainer, Percy Hussey, of course, along with his brother Charlie, was there. Richard Woolward, his father was the chief steward at Caymanas Park at the Jamaica Racing Competition then. Richard resides in Florida and still loves horses and partake in the sport. There was a JC sixth former by the name of Clive Smith, a very good rider. I met him there too. Also there was Michael Bernard of Micros fame, Wow Wow. I admired him as a bowler at cricket. He played for the Sunlight team, and he bowled some, well, it's an orthodox type of spin. They call them flippers, and he mesmerized batsmen with that. On the team was Simon's big brother, Hugh Crosskill, and so many others that the horse racing fraternity might not have any understanding of who they are. But, I met the Rommel brothers the Wallen brothers rather, who Rommel, he ventured into horse racing as a breeder and owner and did very well, but left. The youthful group at Sanders got bigger and bigger, and we hardly sleep, especially on weekend, as well as in the holiday period. I remembered going, from the Friday that our summer holiday starts, when we left school, all of us, we got our clothes and whatever belongings that we're gonna need, and we all went to 36 Sanders Crescent, where Elizabeth mom and dad and her brothers reside. It was a huge yard. That was our headquarters. And we didn't go back home until the Sunday before school reopens, or maybe just for a short little while to get a change of clothes or to get some money or whatever. We had several competitions in cricket, in football mainly, and other areas, with the adjoining areas, Trafalgar Park, East King's House Avenue. It was a long stretch where Richard Woolward resides and where Jack Radix resides. Jack Radix was a very good table tennis player. He kept goal for that era when they play against us. And even while playing tennis or keeping goal, he's always singing. No wonder now he's a top international singer. We played against Sander Park, at times Mona. We played against Gresford Smith and Cleveland Mitchell, both trainers, of course, you will know, their church team. We went to parties, and because of our reputation of being a good set of youths, we were highly respected, and we hardly need any invitation to go crash a party. The competition with other areas were intense, and our group, as I mentioned earlier, was very, very large. Wayne wasn't good at cricket nor football, but regardless, because of the respect that we have for him, we will give him a few minutes at football, as well as he'll be on the team for our cricket. But regardless, he's not as good. He tried his best, and at times he shines. Philip was in that same category too, of not excelling in anything apart from maybe running and surely swimming. He was tops, he was unbeatable. Wayne, myself, Simon Crosskill, his brother-in-law Ned, we usually goes up to Philip's home on a Sunday, and we had races in Philip's dad's swimming pool. And of course, we had handicapping whereby other people get drums and everything. Wayne was always a creator for competition. It's very, very touching when of late, since his death, so many who are part of our group, we hook up and we are reminiscing on the past of the days. You know, it's quite a while I haven't cried, and yesterday I cried. You know, I couldn't hold back the tears because it was then that I realized that Wayne was gone. It was then I realized that decisions made by me in those days, which took me to where I am now, won't say I regret, because maybe if it was any other way that I made my decision, I could maybe not be here, alive. You never know. Never you regret what decisions you make, because you don't know what that decision will evolve in. The best thing for you to do is make sure that you keep your soul in accordance with the Almighty. It's best for you to do righteous things. No one is perfect, surely including me. But it's great to know that God is forgiving and loving and understanding. Wayne taught me a lot. Not much about horses per se as what Philip did for me, but he taught me a lot. We were very close. And you know, as the tears are falling on my eyes now, you know, I remember, you know, it's like we created our own world, that group. We didn't need any outsiders because we were a large group, maybe about, I think it was 21 of us. We partied, we went on excursions, we had night football on the street corner at the house where we called our home, the McCulloch's home. And Joan McCulloch, Elizabeth's mom, was a lady with astounding beauty and was our second mother, all of us second mother. Truly an outstanding woman, the female. She cooked for us, she made soup for us, certain movies, she called us all, and we sat in that huge living room affixed to the television. She taught us well. We played in the yard, football, cricket, even on the outside, by the road where the house is. And we played dominoes, whatever. And almost always, that lady played records done by Jim Reeves, Pat Boone, the Carpenters, the Platters, Nat King Cole, Skeeter Davis, Olivia Newton-John, Gladys Knight and the Pips, the Shylights, the Stylistics, the Delphonics, Ernest Smith and Trudy Thurmondon, Barry White and the likes. That was when I became in love with love and wanted to wait until marriage for me to indulge with a relationship with a female. Wayne's presence coming from school or elsewhere was such that we all looked up to him. He always had something to make us competing together. Dominoes, bicycle riding, cowboys, bird shooting with slingshots, you name it. Pardon me for repeating some of the things that I mentioned about the great one, Wayne Costa. Life was fun and fun we all had together as a group of young kids, maybe unknowingly simulating the characteristics of the boys in the book Huckleberry Finn. Wayne loved horses a lot, and I can't really express to you Wayne winning trend in everything. When we go to bingo parties, even if it's the last game and Wayne hasn't won something, he always wins. I know it might sound far-fetched, but it's a fact. We even got closer together in the latter part of our teenage stage. Our group was established where we thought then that we'll always be together forever. And, you know, we were notorious for those characters, as well as having some very beautiful females among us, including Elizabeth, who later became Wayne's wife, Natalie Binns, who is Elizabeth's best friend and is currently the wife of Andrew Nunes, the brother of the champion trainer, Anthony Nunes. At Caymanas Park, we had Pat Guthrie, we had the Belizean ambassador's daughter to Jamaica, Lydia. We had Dr. Gray's daughter, Donna, just to name a few. Wayne and I became even closer with horses as my fantasy grew for the animals. Philip, on his excursion, if you might call it that, in Ireland at the Vincent O'Brien stables, for the approximately 2 years that he went there, he called Wayne and I, well, at least Wayne, 23 times to give us tips. And every one of those horses won, except for once, where that horse lost by a short head. Philip Fiani, very meticulous, even to this day. Very unique. A lot of people don't understand him, but he's surely a great gentleman. When Philip returned, he asked me one day what I intend to do, because I think I passed some subjects, and I told him I want to do law. I want to be a lawyer, because I love to help people. He said that's what he had wanted to do also, but to spend 7 years to become a lawyer and then to go and lie or whatever to suit the client's needs, he was against that. So he says, why not come and you know, come to be a trainer? So that's where Philip, Wayne, and myself started at Caymanas Park. 3 of us. We played draws and card games in his office with his small barn. We went to Grassbush at all sections nearby, Caymanas Estates, down to behind Dunby Holding District, in the van, and we listened to the draw. In those days, you get a book with the nomination, with the horses nominated, and there's an empty slot there where you can put in the draw and the jockeys. And the draw usually comes over the radio. And in the Grassbush, we always put, you know, wait on that, and while the grooms went and pulled Nadina and Bama, as well as sugarcane. I remembered on Philip's return, his family and friends of his family wanted to give him horses, lots of horses, wanted to buy horses for him. He refused. He said he wanted to start slow. So the money that he saved, he acquired a few horses from his uncle, Winston, who wasn't really interested in horses again. He got the Donut King horse by the name of Mary Jo, and a youngster by the name of Tropical Palm. He started with those horses, and soon enough, Windsor, that Wayne owned, was sound enough to venture back into racing. Philip had that horse, and he trained that horse, and Wayne Costa won his first race as an owner, and Philip's first race, the Jockey Club Stakes, going 7 furlongs. Charles Hussey rode that horse. George Sang presented the trophy. Tropical Palm won a race, but wasn't really all that much. Had speed. Clement Barnes was the stable rider. And Philip gradually got one and two horses from close friends, and he emerged and went forward to become the greatest trainer, in my opinion, at Caymanas Park. Wayne got his trainer's license after serving the assistantship from Philip after 2 years. Then I got my assistant license under Philip Fiani. But the three of us were still close. It didn't make a difference who got what from whom. Wayne trained a few horses, and I will give you a history on those that were important. Well, for me as an owner, the first horse I had, I was going to school, Wayne said that the horse was for sale, a horse by the name of Battle Song, owned by Eddie Smatt. Larry Lopez and myself bought that horse. Unfortunately, that horse died when the police were chasing a bank robber all the way from Ferry Police Station southwards to Caymanas Park. My horse was tied up on the fence along with the horse that Dennis Sasso had. Well, Bigger Gordon, I think, was responsible for that horse then, a horse by the name of Mary Lass. Both horses got shot a lot of times. My horse died, Mary Lass. Survived and went on to do well. Wayne struggled badly in the interim. But to cut the story short, let me get to the starting point where Wayne took off. Philip trained for an owner by the name of Norris Daly, and Philip wanted to dissolve that training partnership. So he said to me, if I can get someone to pay Norris Daly half of $15,000, he would give me Court Studer and Cantata, and he would stand trainer for those horses until I get my trainer's license, which was about 2 years after. I asked all the horse people that I know on my side, and a lot of them questioned that offer, that it was too cheap and this and that and everything. It wasn't successful. I couldn't find no one. Wayne couldn't afford a horse. But alas, his mom met a gentleman who was a horse racing man. And that's how Wayne got the $15,000 to purchase it half for those two horses. I remember when we acquired a check, Wayne and I, and we were driving, he says to me, "Mister, I won't repeat. Make sure that these two horses worth it, otherwise you are to blame." Well, of course, Coach Studer went on to do well. Coach Studer's part owner, Norris Daly, went on to do very well. Wayne had before Adorable, Police Gal, and Sky Rider and Motivator. Sky Rider and Motivator got into the stables of Wayne the Costa after my friend Derry, that's Derucci Richards. Of course, we all know Derucci. He was the one who motivated his friend to buy those two horses, and they did very well. Those two horses were owned by a gentleman, I can't remember his name, but he owned a supermarket at the corner of, one of the corners of Redditch Road, one of the top supermarkets. But anyway, further on, Wayne went to acquire Splashback, Jim Dandy, Simplicity, who was named after a store in Manor Park Plaza, near enough to the pharmacy where we all had breakfast most of the time, so we decided to name that horse. For the group for motivating Sky Rider, there was a horse by the name of Tandemar. Mr. D, Wayne acquired Mr. D, a top horse, a gelding that was formerly trained by Life with You. I remember the one race meet, I saw Dennis Smith, the owner, crying. When I was going to the bathroom, I saw him out there, and I said, "Sir, why are you crying like this?" He said that his horse, when the trainer told him that the horse is going to perform good, the horse performs bad. And when he says the horse don't have a chance, the horse performs well. I said to him, "Why don't you move the horse to a different trainer?" He says he owes the trainer a lot of money. I said to him, "How much was it?" He said, he showed me a bill that has totaled from back payments to $75,000. Of course, $75,000 in those days was a great deal of money. I said to Mr. Dennis Smith, "If I give you that money, will you move the horse to Wayne the Costa?" He said, "Yes." Didn't tell Wayne anything. I went and I changed a check, and I gave Wayne, Dennis Smith the $75,000. And when the last race on the day finished, and Wayne and I were going back to his stables, I said to him, "What do you think about that horse, Mr. D?" And he was excited. At the time, he didn't even know what would transpire within a few minutes. I said, "I'm going to bring that horse to your stable." And he said, "What are you talking about? Are you crazy?" I said, "Don't worry." When he reached the stable, I went around and I took the car and I asked Patrick Fong, then popularly known as Chingalau, to come with me with an altar. And I went for Mr. D. That's how Wayne got Mr. D. Thornbird was another situation where Philip, Wayne, and myself were always together. And the yearling sale came, and Philip and Wayne, they marked the book and who they were going to inspect and everything and the sort. Anyway, Thornbird was well bred. And when we went to the sale, the first horse we went to look for was Thornbird. She was over at the knee. Of course, that conformation is when the knees are more forward than the rest of her body. I guess horse people will know that terminology. She had an hindquarters that was huge, and the rest of her was good, and she looked very intelligent. Philip said that he's not interested in, and Wayne tug-along with him, because Philip was the superior man with horses then. I turned back and I went to the groom that was holding the horse, and I said, "Tell me something. When this horse was born, were you with this horse?" He said, "Yes." I said, when he was born, how did he look?" And he said, "It was worse than how he looks now." I said, "What about a month ago?" He said, it was worse than now. So I said, "Okay." And I said to Philip, "Philip, I questioned the groom and I told Philip what I asked. Philip said he's still not interested. Well, I didn't really ask Wayne, because then he didn't have the money to buy such a horse. But when the Table and Jewels Bay filly, tiny horse, lined up to be coming to the sales ring, it was third in line to enter the sales ring, I said to Wayne, boy, it's a pity, this horse is just something. I said, by the way, Norris Daly. No, I said, boy, if some way we could buy this horse. We could bid on it and wait a week or two to find someone. Wayne said he has no one. I said, by the way, what about Norris Daly? Wayne didn't answer. When Thornbird went into the ring, I begged Wayne, and Wayne started to bid. He bid up to $10,000 and said he's not going any further. And I pushed him. And he bid some more to $12,000. Someone bid to $12,500. Mr. Stafford Sobrati bid to $13,000. And I looked across. He was having some curry goat where the bar is. And when he bid $13,000, he turned away to get a mouthful. And I said, Wayne, just put on a 1,000 more. And he didn't even answer me. And I remembered I took the heel of my shoe and I was pressing his foot and said, Wayne, okay, just $500 more. And he said, okay. 13.5, going once, going twice. I was looking at Stafford Sobrati, and he turned and put his hand up, and the spotter didn't see him. And Wayne got the horse for 13.5. Well, Philip says, well, she's full of speed, and she's going to be speedy and everything like that, and and we were there talking about the horse for the rest of the day, and when we were going home. To cut a long story short, I went over from Philip Fiani as his assistant to Wayne Costa because a friend of mine came from the States, Christopher Binns, and wanted to get an assistant trainer's license. I carried him to Wayne. Wayne says, no. Since he's my friend, why don't carry him to Philip and I become his assistant? I said, okay, it doesn't really matter because we are all together anyway. So, being Wayne's assistant, I was in charge of overseeing the young horses. And I didn't train the horse, please, but I overseed all his young horses. And even had an eye on Philip horses also, youngsters. At that time, those horses really came to the track at about 9:45, 9 o'clock. And Wayne and Philip, Howard Mackenzie and the likes, they were somewhere on the compound talking, or maybe at Philip's office, or one of those guys at the stable. At one of those tables, they chit-chat, etc. So I stayed. If I am to really elaborate on all the history of Wayne Costa and myself, well, we're talking about Wayne, it would take maybe a month. But anyway, Thornbird, when reaching 2 furlongs, at the 2 furlong stage in galloping, I clocked her the second time, going 22 flat. I told Wayne. Wayne said the angle that I might have missed, a few seconds, because it's not easy to clock a horse from a 2 furlong point when you're down near the winning post. She went 3 furlongs next out. She went 34 flat. Wayne says it's impossible. That's rubbish. She went 3 furlongs again. And I told him that I'm going to go to a point where I can't miss the exact time that she reaches the 3 furlong point. She went 33 2/5. I was hesitant in telling Wayne, and we were driving home alone. And when reaching Ferry police station, I will never forget it. I took out the watch, the stopwatch, and I said, Wayne, look at this. This is what she went. Wayne looked at it, took my stopwatch and threw it away and said, that's rubbish. The following week, we all gathered at the winning post on that ledge there. For those who know Caymanas Park, there's a ledge at the winning post right on the top of one of the top, right below one of the tower where we usually sit. And, you know, we congregate there and we chit-chat, give jokes, mouth each other, etc., etc. Anyway, Paul Newman came a bit late one morning and he says, if anybody has any horse going half mile, 4 furlongs, as you know. Philip said, with whom? He says, my apology. Philip says, you're crazy. That horse just won 2 races very easily. Nobody had a horse that could match that horse. Then Wayne said, okay, Tontilo, let's Pebble's talking about this horse is a super horse. Well, both horses lined up. Hubert Bartley was on my apology. Hubert Anderson was on the Table and Jewels filly. 4 furlongs. When Thornbird reached the winning post, my apology barely passed the furlong point. Thornbird went 44 3/5 of a second, effortlessly. She ran the first time. I thought she was going to break the world record because I was around weighing horses a lot. I was outside mainly, and I love to go to the stalls and play with them and look at them. And this horse was like a human being. Her hair was like a cat hair, very soft. She was so intelligent, so adorable. I thought she'd break the world record. She went 5.5 furlongs. She won effortlessly in 104 3/5, I think. The next time I said to Philip, she's going to break her own that track record that she just ran 2 weeks ago. And she did. And that horse became so close to me. Whenever she raced, I was dressed in a 3-piece suit. Thornbird became one of Wayne Costa's best horses that he had under his care. Wayne went on further, getting more horses, and at one time won the trainer's title first in the mid-80s with 9 horses. A rare feat. And, you know, we will all remember that. Patrick Chingalow Fong, now a trainer, was very close to Wayne, and he used to spear fishing, and he's a good cook, a good chef, and he usually cook for us. I tell you, some very delicious fish menu. He also cooked for Philip or the Pinch and myself, because we are always in the office. We didn't really go home at times sometimes, and especially on a race day. Cecil Murray too, he's now deceased, was a good chef. And while we were there playing draft or card games, when we hear the knocking, we know it's time to eat. And I can tell you, very delicious. Larry Lopez played a lot in Wayne Costa's development. There was also Simon Croskill, Tony Chance. We had a fellow by the name of Martin Thompson. We had Richard Woolworth. We had Glenn, I don't remember his name. We had Roger Chance. We had a fellow by the name of Mark. We also had 2 brothers, Garth and John. Douglas and Richard Gray, Donna Gray, Peter and Colleen Stennett, Michael Guthrie, Brian Garrick, elder brother of Lance Whitaker, Winston and Robert Whitehorn, Rosemary Bell, now the Costa, she marries Philip Fiana, deceased wife's brother. We have Natalie Binns, Elizabeth's best friend, and maybe still is. She married to Anthony Bobby News' elder brother, Andrew. They're now in Barbados. We had Garth Murray, and of course, Charles Hussey. So much more to say on this great person. And, you know, it really started to beam on me what has really happened within the past 10 days. Ned, Wayne Costa's brother-in-law and Elizabeth's brother, and I were very, very close. As I mentioned earlier, we loved animals. Ned, favorite jockey was George O'Shang, and mine was Emilio Rodriguez. So that rivalry created a lot. Larry Lopez, his rider was Winston Griffiths. So when the three compete, we're always arguing, quarreling, and at times when whichever comes out dominant, we mount each other, and it was really something. Wayne and I didn't really, our friendship waned, well, a pun on the word, because of an issue. And, it escalated in a manner that what is present now is what it is. I'm really sorry about it, but I'm happy that God knows how sorry I am. I respect Wayne a lot. And, he, from a youthful age, he was much to our group. His luck seems limitless. He could not dance, but he tried. He could not climb a tree, but he could run. He never lost a fight at Campion, college, or around us. He's patient. He takes over 1 minute. He takes his time to flick his fingers, letting go a marble or a slingshot tongue to shoot. Hey, he hardly misses. He could not sing, but he had charisma to combat that. He ain't afraid of trying to compete in anything, and really, that was his forte. Oh boy, life. What is life really? To his wife Elizabeth, his son Jason, his daughter Stephanie, his brothers Philip and Stephen, his sister Paula, to the Costa family and friends. Surely Elizabeth was blessed with being strong, because now she heads the Costa family in shouldering this burdensome, tragic moment. I hope it will go away. But how can I say that? I'm not the one feeling. I feel on my own what I'm feeling, and I'm sure her kids and others are. Anyway, I tried hard to make this tribute in chronological order. And I hope you understand if you find mistakes whereby I repeat myself, but please understand. This is a tremendous moment for me, a very burdensome one. Wayne Anthony de Costa, Wayne McCulloch, two close friends, two people from one family. Anyway, I tried. I hope you all understand. This is Colin Blair. Forever, I will never, ever forget Wayne Anthony de Costa and Wayne McCulloch. Remember, please wear a mask, practice social distancing. Keep yourself hydrated, especially us who are over 50 years of age. Don't follow the rhetorics and all these way out social media proclamations. It simulates what happened in Noah's era, with the Noah's building the Noah's Ark. It also simulates the Titanic. Oh, please, we need to adhere to the health protocols and stop being stupid. We all have a brain and we all see what's happening. Take care.
Check out KD's Vehicle Headlamp and Restoration.
Pure water,
Our headlamps
pure pride,
are fine
pure
standard,
Jamaican.
buff, and 9H coated with a 2-year guarantee. Price starting at $4,500. Internal restoration and modification starts at $8,000. To make an appointment today, call us at 876-824-6186.